Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak at CMtrading. Today is May 19, 2021, and today is Wednesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, Bitcoin tanking after not sustaining itself the previous day. We're going to take a look at that in just a second. But first, there's no major economic event scheduled for today. So as we look at the various sectors, starting out with the currencies, the US dollar weaker, and it's really led by the euro taking the lead versus the USD. Looking at the indices, the NASDAQ and the Dow Jones both falter, with the Dow Jones faltering at that 50% mark. Now looking at commodities, oil giving up its gains while gold remaining steady. And as we look at the stocks as they sold off, sparred by the technology sector, leading its way further down. And lastly, looking at Bitcoin, it tumbles below that 40,000 mark. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So going to first take a look at the Euro USD. We can see that push higher. Yesterday we were trading at that 121-ish level, 121.90, and then continue to push higher. We're now at 122.40, which is a very decent move for the euro on the upside. So let's jump into a daily chart. And so you see pretty much we were trading at this 121.70-ish level yesterday and just extended its rally higher. Okay, now this is really on the back of the fact that the indices, the US indices, are getting weaker as well. Now looking at the GBP USD, took a little bit of a backdrop of this, okay, didn't really push higher and then retraced a little bit. If you look at the USD CAD, also bouncing a little bit, which means that it got a little bit stronger. But remember, looking at the CAD, we are hitting that lower end since we haven't seen in 2017. So this is really still very major. I would say we've breached it. And just taking a little bit of a break before we make a further correction there. Now jumping into commodities, let's first look at oil, as that one tumbled yesterday from 66.70 down to 64.70. That's a $3 move in a day, which is very, very decent. Okay, so fortified triple top, okay, that's a very significant level for it to be as it retraced down to this level. So I do imagine we'll continue to trade within this range, even though we tumbled in such a fast velocity. We do have some support level at 64.50, so just be aware of it. Now looking at gold, gold didn't budge down. In fact, it budged upwards, which means that it has room to continue going higher. My guess is by the end of the summer, we'll be in the 1950-ish level, as long as we could push this 1877. Now, the reason I say this is because inflation is getting to be something that's a serious factor, not just in the United States, but across the world, as the markets have tumbled and have this rotation since the pandemic. Now jumping into the indices, first looking at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ couldn't sustain itself above this 13,360-ish yesterday and just tumbled further down about 200 points, which is a decent move. And looking at the Dow Jones, very similar, because we did have that major sell-off from 35,000 to 32,300, and then we had this bounce. Okay, this bounce right here is quite significant because it's about 50% from our upper range to our lower range. Okay, almost about 50%. We made a double top and then the retracement downwards. Okay, so that was a significant downwards momentum. I do anticipate that we'll be trading in a very choppy market. I don't see extension to the market, okay? But I think we'll actually be bouncing off of these levels today. And the reason I say that is because we're still in a very choppy market, okay? The market wants to be resilient until it doesn't. So with that said, okay, I'm saying a lot of double negatives here, but honestly speaking, okay, I would look for a bounce later today in this. Now looking at this various sectors, okay, we did sell off on almost everything. From JP Morgan selling off from $64 down to $62, Alcoa selling off from $39, Apple, Amazon, everything sold off yesterday, okay? So there's nothing that really held up its weight yesterday for me to say, okay, this is not going to sell off more at these levels. So, you know, it's a bit of a challenge right now because the markets are retracing. The question is that are they retracing because there's lower volume, or are they retracing because it's a bona fide sell-off? So that's yet to be cleared out so far. Okay, now looking lastly at Bitcoin. Bitcoin breaking down yesterday from that 42,261. It did look like it wanted to challenge this upper limit again at 46,000, but couldn't sustain it. And once we broke through our moving averages, That was all it wrote. And then, you know, further decline down to 39,000. We're right now at 39,600. So looking at the daily, okay, we've reached this next support level of 46,000. Our next real support level is right here at, well, right now we are at subsequent support level at 39,600, which is the 61 mark on the Fibonacci. If we do retrace further from that, we'll be at the 36,993. So keep that in mind, that there's a little bit of a support level right now where we are. So in a choppy market, in a market where there's not so much volume, you don't want to be so aggressive at it, okay? Especially because you could be whipsawed in either direction. So just be aware of that. Play it safe and put some stop losses always, okay? Always recommend that. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.